With Digimon Survive coming out really soon, I start to think what Digimon ended up getting in various games. Some of which are kind of expected, like the main protagonist Digimon and the villains from said seasons, and some aren't as common, like Catch-Memamon appearing in Hacker's Memory. At least, what I think, because I've never really seen Catch-Memamon all that much in games. And for this video, I'm not really expecting any of these to get in Survive, but I am willing to be surprised to see if some of them do get in. And this video is mostly just me wishing that they would show up in a later entry, maybe in the next Digimon story game that was mentioned in Digimon Con this year. While these ones have gotten more representation in recent times and have had some in the past, I would want to see more of these Spirit Digimon. We've gotten a few of them in Hacker's Memory, that being the Fire and Light Digimon lines, along with Susanamon. But it kinda sucks it was just them. At most, I can imagine to see the rest of the protagonists, that being the spirits of Thunder, Ice, Wind, and Darkness. The Ancient Digimon I think would also be very cool, since they've only had minor appearances in some games like Digimon World 3, the TCG, and the anime, and I've only really seen Ancient Greymon and Ancient Garurumon get the most attention. I also think if the Spirits of Darkness were to be added, it'd probably just be the good side, that being Luimon and Jaeger Luimon, just because I imagine since they are the good aspect of it, they don't really want to add both sides. I don't know, that's my only reasoning, even though it's not the greatest. I also want to see the fusion spirits, mostly for the ones who didn't get them in the anime, since at the very least, the fire and light spirits can get Emperor Greymon and Magna Garurumon for their megas. If Aldermon and Beowulfmon do get in, that'd be great, but honestly I'm not expecting all that much. More Digimon I want to see definitely has to be the various Shoutmon forms, along with the fusion of Greymon and Meroborchmon, that being Z Greymon. I was glad to see Shoutmon, his evolution, and Gumshoomon and his evolution in a non-fusion game show up, but I felt it was pretty lacking. At most, I kinda want to see Shoutmon DX and most of the main Shoutmon forms up to times 7. I feel it wouldn't be that bad because you can at least, DNA to Digivolve the Digimon every so often, so at least there's that. And for Gumshoomon, I feel like adding a Dramon Superior mode would be nice too, since its fusions are more or less just random one-offs, so I don't really expect it. I know Shoutmon has those too, but again, that's why I only would like to see like the main forms, since at least those guys aren't really as one-off-ish as Shoutmon's other forms. I also want to see more Onward Digimon, since I think the last time they had a decent amount has been in the game Dawn and Dusk for the DS. And in Cybersleuth and Hacker's Memory, we only got Magnamon, Rapidmon Golden, and Flamedramon. And I feel if they did add them, they would at least add the main O2 Digimon ones like Halsmon, Digmon, their other two forms, along with Raydramon, Pegasusmon, and Nephirigimon. Some of them I'd like to see have to be Petromon, Moosemon, Rhinomon, and a lot of Wormwom's evolutions, just because I found his almost to be pretty goddamn cool. I'd also really like to see the X-Antibody Digimon, but I feel these ones are super unlikely since the X-Antibodies aren't really like new evolutions. I just think they're mostly just side forms, unless, they just remove all the normal versions and just add in all the X-Antibody versions of those Digimon, but I feel that's, again, super unlikely. But if they were added in a future game, I'd imagine a lot of the notable Digimon like Omnimon, Alphamon, and the other main character Digimon would get them first. At most, I want to see Digimon like Gomamon X, Terriermon X, and Herculeo Kabuterimon X, along with Grandis Kawagamon. I also want to see the 4 Holy Beasts come in a later game, since I feel like that's a group of Digimon that has only really shown up in the anime. They've had some appearances in some games, mostly just as an NPC like in the first Digimon DS game, or just as a card or medal. I thought these guys were just a noble part of the digital world and were major villains in Digimon Tamers, so them having a spot as a playable Digimon should have happened by now, if it hasn't already happened. This also applies to the Devils. While some of them have made some appearances in a few games, I'd hope they also get some attention here too. Now moving on to some random picks I think would be some cool additions, starting off with Mistymon. For this Digimon, I think my reasoning is pretty simple. I just really like its design, and I think it could be a good ultimate for a Wizardmon evolution, or really any Knight or Angel Digimon, since, it kind of just fits both those roles, and I'm surprised it really wasn't in a lot of games, or just any at all. I also would like to see Dino Rexmon come in some games, since I really like the design and the BT7 version of the card in the Digimon TCG. I like its effect, so that's why I just want to see it, just because I start to really like it. I also think the card has some cool lore for it being like the King of Terror due to its nature of battle, so that's another reason. I also want to see Metal Phantomon. I was actually interested in it when I got an episode in Digimon Ghost Game. I thought it looked pretty cool, and I feel it's a form of Phantomon that isn't really talked about. Plus, it can give Machine Digimon and Ghost Digimon a cool option to go into, so that's a plus if you ask me. This next Digimon is pretty much very similar to why I want to see Dino Rexmon, and that Digimon's Christ Biojimon. The design goes very hard, and I think it has some really cool lore to it, with it saying something like, its ice armor is so good that it can't really be built even by the hardest of Digimon. And I really like how the card works, at least, the BT5 version of it, just because it's just a really fun card. And ideally, I want to see its full line, but at the very least, I definitely want to see this one Digimon get in. And of course, it would work really well for like any Dragon Digimon or just any ice-related Digimon. These next two Digimon I kind of want to see in a future title, both in the same game, that being Hookmon and Captain Hookmon. And, I think Hookmon was in Digimon World 3 and Dawn Dusk. I haven't really seen Captain Hookmon all that much. The only times I've seen him was in Digimon Ghost Game and TCG. And since I imagine Captain Hookmon is just an evolution for Hookmon, it would be kind of cool just to, again, see them both in the same game. And I think the designs are pretty fun, just because, they kind of remind me of pirates and whatnot. I'd also want to see Bellstarmon come inside the game at some point, just because I think it's a good, opposite version of Beelzemon. At least I get those same vibes. And I've heard the deck does pretty good in the Digimon TCG, at least from what I've heard, and, at the time of recording, because I think, right now it's at, BT8 in America, and we're getting BT9 soon, so at least I think with the rise of that deck, I think, at some point I feel like it should be in a game, eventually. I also want to see Avenged Kidmon, and I think this is mostly just because it's also kind of related to Bellstarmon, I think, with the Three Musketeers and whatnot. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but I think Avenged Kidmon looks really cool, and, that's pretty much it. Just, he looks cool as shit. And while some of why I want some Digimon to come in is pretty shallow, as you just heard with Avenged Kidmon, honestly, I don't really mind as much, just because I think some Digimon just look cool and just haven't really gotten a whole lot of representation. And that's pretty much all the Digimon I want to see in a future game, along with just seeing more of them, like Hookmon and stuff. The individual Digimon I mentioned were in a few games here and there, the TCG or the VPETs, and for me, without the TCG, I probably would have never really saw them. I do think, for me at least, the games are a big part of seeing these Digimon, second to the anime. There's a lot of cool Digimon design-wise, and I just wish they got more representation. But now I want to hear what Digimon you guys want to see in later entries, and let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, sub, and follow my Twitter, link down below. See you guys later.